Welcome back to Hoop City with Paul Sir on your Sports Leader Sports 1440. I'm glad to be joined by the president, head coach, CEO, general manager. He does it all for the Edmonton Stingers here in Edmonton, Jordan Baker. Jordan, great to have you on the show.
Yeah, always great to be on.
Good. So you've got, before we go into the season, you've got a night, I think, that is, I don't want to say long overdue, but couldn't be more timely. And that is the partnership between the Edmonton Stingers and the Filipino community. And anybody who knows the Filipino community knows about their passion for the sport of basketball. So on Saturday night, you have Filipino Heritage Night. Tell us how this came about and what the night will entail.
Yeah, so I mean, in the off season, we were looking to do a little bit of some special events when it came to some of our home games, and just finding other ways to interact with the community at large. And like you said, you know, the Filipino community is are huge supporters of basketball and love the game. And we wanted to find a way to, you know, sort of honor that community. And, you know, in Edmonton, we have a huge Filipino community. So for us, it was a natural fit being the professional basketball team in town. And yeah, I mean, we've engaged with Filipino groups, you know, whether it's performers, our anthem singer, you know, halftime shows and things like that over the course of the last few seasons, but nothing where we've really tried to dial in on making one specific night a celebration of all those things, right? So we have a market that's in the parking lot of Expo Center prior to the game, runs from noon until tip-off. We've got lots of Filipino vendors, markets, and food trucks, so people can come out and enjoy that during the day. And it looks like the weather looks to be on our side, which is fantastic. And that runs, you know, Saturday and Sunday during the day. And then we have some pre-game performances by some cultural groups, and then we have a pre-game buffet going on at Expo Center with, you know, traditional Filipino cuisine prior to the game. And then we've got some custom merchandise, a hat and a t-shirt that our players will be wearing during warm-up for sale and in celebration that have all been designed by a local Filipino artist here. So we've tried to change as much as we can about our game day experience to celebrate Filipino culture. But, you know, we're also looking to win a basketball game and to, you know, improve in our standings in the league.
What a great combination, though. Like you said, Jordan, you're looking for new ways to engage with the community, and this is a community that is extremely special. So kudos to you, the Stinger organization, and the Filipino community to put this partnership together, and I'm sure it will be a wonderful night. Are there tickets still available?
Yeah, we do have a few tickets available. I don't know, you know, if they're going to be premium tickets, but if you get yourself in the building, you know, like I always say, there's no bad seat in the Expo Arena. It's such an intimate venue, but there are some tickets still available. If you go to the stingers.ca, you can find some things on there, and we've tried to make them as affordable as possible, understanding that we want a full building to have a fun and inclusive celebration.
It's going to be a great night. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about the season so far. You're 3-4, but there's some very, very close finishes in there, both on the positive and the negative side. And you've had some roster changes that you've had to make because you recruited some really good players. And so had a good Eastern swing where you nearly beat the league leading Honey Badgers, and then turned around and had a solid victory over Montreal, coming in against Scarborough, another very good team. Talk about the team's development, about your personnel, and your scouting report for the Scarborough team.
Yeah, I mean, Scarborough has the league's leading scorer in Miles Powell, so obviously that's going to be a big focal point for us. But they've got some other pieces around him, a very talented team. So, you know, if we want to be able to squeak out a win tomorrow night or on Saturday night, like it's got to be a full team effort, and we've got to be in a position where we're not playing one-on-one basketball, because that's where they thrive and they've got the talent. For us, it's how do we find ways to put 5 guys in front of the ball, support our teammates, and really scheme up some different ways to keep them guessing on that side of the floor, and then get out and run and enjoy some of these new, you know, players that we've got in the lineup over the last couple of weeks here.
Talk about some of those new players, Jordan.
Well, Scotty Lindsay is a guy who's new to us over the last couple games. Certainly not new to the Stingers, not new to Edmonton, but he's a guy that we've welcomed back with open arms, and he's been a great contributor over the last 3 games for us. Isaiah Moore, same thing, not new to the CEBL. Spent a couple of years in Ottawa. Averaged a double there in his 2 seasons. So he was brought in to sort of replace Danger, who went off to NBA workouts, and then Stanley Davis Jr. is a guy we've been waiting for him to finish up his season overseas, and now that he's back with us, he's proving to be a great asset off the bench for us to help with our depth. And then last but not least, we'll get Nick back in the lineup. Nick Hornsby back against Scarborough, so it'll be great to have him back in the lineup, and his leadership and just his style of play is going to help our second unit for sure.
Well, it would seem to me, outside looking in, that this year's rendition of the Stingers has a tremendous amount of depth at every position, I would say. Talk about what that's like from a coaching standpoint, because you've got a lot of good players that all can contribute in a variety of ways. How do you work with this lineup to try to put everybody in the best position to succeed, Jordan?
Yeah, it's like you said, we have lots of guys that can contribute up and down the lineup, and I think one of the toughest things as a pro is to come in and to understand that you might not be the featured guy on any given night, right? So just having the conversation with our team and saying, hey, you got to put your ego aside, and some nights you'll play 30 minutes and some nights you'll play 12, and we're going to go with the hot hand, and that's what's going to make us difficult to beat. If you shut down one player, we've got another guy that we can roll in that can, put the ball in the basket. And I think over the course of this season, we've had something like 7 or 8 guys score 20 plus in a game, right? So we can do it in a variety of different ways. It's just having players buy into the process and wanting to be a part of a winning team that maybe doesn't always translate to big individual numbers, but putting the priorities of the group above the individual. And that's always a tough thing to do at the professional level, but I think we've got the right guys in the building that we can, continue to roll that lineup out and play 12 guys a night.
I'm talking with Jordan Baker, the CEO, president, and head coach and general manager of the Edmonton Stingers here on Hoop City with Paul Scher. Final question for you, Jordan. What are you seeing league-wide in terms of the quality of play, the quality of player, year on year, because you've been involved with the Stingers obviously since the inception? Give me your observations of we're in year 8, right, of the CEBL. Talk about year 8 of the CEBL versus year 1.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's been a number of different changes at the league level that has sort of encouraged the level of play to be improved. I mean, we've gone from having 3 import spots on the roster to 5. We've gone from 6 teams to 10. So it's just more players getting involved with the league and a higher quality. And also the league has grown to a spot where I no longer, in general managing free agency talks, have to explain what the CBL is, right? Agents know, players know, they want to be a part of the league. They want to find a way to get onto a roster. And that's something that only comes with time, is that, that prestige internationally. So that's grown tremendously. The level of players that we have guys that are signing NBA contracts and Exhibit 10s and 2-ways all the time once the season wraps up. And that's just a testament to how good our talent pool is. And, we've structured the league a little bit more to fall in line with the G League schedule and being an off season for the G League. And, as there's guys that are, 1 injury away or, 1 break away from being on an NBA roster from G League teams. And we're not getting the G League guys who don't play any minutes. We're getting highly contributing G League players who are, hunting those 2-ways and 10-day deals. So that's been tremendous. And then obviously just the partnership we've had with U Sports has been awesome in bringing on young Canadians that are using the CBL to springboard their careers overseas. So the talent level has grown on all sides. And part of that is also due to the business side of, we're making a little bit more money. We're getting a few more sponsorships. We're getting some partnership deals within the community that are making our players a little more comfortable. And so they're willing to give up their summer months to play some hoops because they know they're going to be taken care of off the floor as well.
Well, I think one thing that I can say for sure is that the Edmonton franchise has been one of, if not the beacon in the CEBL since its inception as a quality franchise that does a lot of extra things to look after their players. So good on you, Jordan, that you're keeping that going and building on that, because part of it, that's a huge part of it.
And the big thing is our fan base and our fan support that we have in the city. Like, they're buying tickets, they're becoming corporate sponsors, they're doing all of the things that we need to generate revenue to be able to treat our players that way. So everything falls back on our fans and how great and supportive they've been over the last 8 years.
Absolutely. Well, you're going to have a great fan experience coming up Saturday night. Tip off 7:00, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
7:00 down at Expo. They've got the great market going on outside. It's going to be a total experience that is fueled by this wonderful community of folks that nationally love basketball, kind of like no other culture does. So get on down to the Expo Center, enjoy the game, go to stingers.ca, get your tickets if you haven't got them already. And Jordan, best of luck, not just, of course, with the game against Scarborough tonight, but also for the remainder of the season. And we'll be talking to you soon, I'm sure.
Absolutely. Okay, well, I appreciate it. Thanks so much.
All right. Jordan Baker, head everything for the Edmonton Stingers, joining me today here on Hoop City with Paul Sir.